Hello, and welcome to Film Slam Stream's post-film conversation for Ampe, Leap into the Sky, Black Girl. My name is Eric Siler, and I'm an instructor of film, media arts, and communications, as well as moderator for this conversation. We're very pleased to be joined by the co-directors of this film. Joining us from Nigeria are Claudia Owusu and Ife Oluwamuyide. Hello to the both of you, and welcome.
Hello.
Oh, it's so good that you can join us from overseas. I know the two of you met in Columbus and decided to collaborate together. But can you just tell our audience how the two of you connected with each other? Even though I know Claudia, you're Ghanaian, and Ife, you're Nigerian, two different countries, but coming together as one. How did that happen? I'll start with you, Claudia.
Yeah, Ife and I, we've always known of each other. We grew up in Columbus together. There is a large African community in Columbus. And so I met Ife at a Ghanaian picnic. And ever since then, we've just always sort of gravitated towards each other as, young African creatives in a community where, the sciences are encouraged. And so we just started kind of collaborating in 2019 to just really lean on each other and see where experimentation will take us. And just from then on, we've been collaborating.
Well, great. So, Ife, were you two in Columbus for school or for the arts? What were you two in Columbus for?
That's where Claudia and I grew up. Me and my family immigrated to Columbus when I was around 3 years old, and I think for Claudia it was a bit later, probably in teenage years. So Columbus is our home. Columbus is our community, and through that, it's a large African community in Columbus, and we all tend to kind of band together. And through that, that's how Claudia and I found each other.
Okay. So, with two different countries and cultures and customs, you could have collaborated on a number of different things. What was so special about Ampe that brought the two of you together? I'll go back and forth. How about you, Claudia?
Yeah, I think with Ampe is something that is celebratory. And I believe just since the beginning of Ife and I's collaboration, both individually in our separate work and collectively, we are really concerned with narratives that center Black girls, namely from our immigrant communities, the people that we see around us all the time. And Ampe just felt like this really important space where we could see girls thrive, girls support each other, girls go through a wave of emotion and just leap with faith, right? And chance. And there's just something so majestic and fascinating about that. And I think it just extended so much space, not just for us as like writers and directors, but also so much space for us to be able to hear and record the stories of the people that we love, the people that we love knowing and seeing daily. So it just felt very close to just our community.
Well, great. That's a wonderful way to, form a bond, across different cultures. So, Ife, since this is a Ghanaian game, is this something that Claudia taught you, and she was it a lot of convincing to, hey, let's go ahead and make the film, or was it you, Frida and Claudia, saying, we gotta, document this? How did this film come about?
So how it came about, it was the early months of 2020 when we had just gotten into isolation. We had a little celebratory picnic at a park for Claudia's birthday. It was like a late celebration. And at the park, at the end of everything that we had done, some of the girls who were in attendance started playing Ampe just as like a pastime. And it was so interesting to see otherwise reserved girls just be free and open and abandon all the restrictions they had given themselves in their everyday life. And I was so enthralled watching it because that was my first introduction to Ampe. And I remember thinking in that moment, I was like, this is amazing. We have to document this somehow. But I didn't say anything. It was just a thought. And it was a few days later, Claudia called me and she was like, oh, she's been thinking about Ampe and like how the girls were playing at the park. And she's like, I think we should do a project on this. And I was like, I was thinking the exact same thing. So we were both of the same mind about documenting it. We didn't know how exactly, but that summer we were working on another project and we had access to equipment. So we decided to try and finesse and use the equipment for our personal passion project while we were also trying to do something that we had commissioned for. So that was the first iteration of Ampe that summer of 2020.
That's amazing. Great minds think alike, as they say, and it worked out. So let's continue on with the production process. With the production process, Claudia, you got a little bit of footage, and using the equipment as Ife said that you had. But how did you decide to actually move forward and formalize this and go to Ghana and do filming there and filming more in Columbus? What happened next, Claudia?
Yeah, I think after that summer in Columbus, we shared a draft of the film with just people in our community, people that we admire. And so the feedback just left more to be desired. And so I think later that year, we both agreed that we would just reshoot. And so we weren't really sure what that entailed. We just knew that we wanted to acquire some sort of grants or funds to be able to sponsor the film. And so from then on, we started a fundraiser, applying for grants locally in Columbus. We were really blessed and privileged to be assisted in the early stages of pre-production by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, as well as the Maroon Arts Group's fund as well. So that kind of helped us to kind of like get up and just sort of start pushing forward. And then our community just really came through with our fundraiser. And I think that also led us to invest. We were already going to invest in our own project, but it also kind of added more of like, I guess, an affirmation to be supported outside of ourselves. So from then on, also Columbus and Accra are sister cities. So narratively, we just thought it'd be really interesting to think about that mirroring of how girls come of age through the lens of Ampe or through the experience of Ampe. So with the fundraising support and with the narrative specificity, we decided to just sort of go forward.
But it just makes sense for that your sister cities, Columbus, the capital of Ohio, Accra, the capital of Ghana, two capitals joining together in a culturally type of a way. With that said, so Ife, had you been to Ghana before, and talk about the actual shooting in Ghana and finding the subjects and the locations? How did that occur?
Yeah, actually, the shooting of this project was my first time in Ghana. We shot this the later end of 2021, so fall 2021. Earlier that year, I had been to Nigeria for like family reasons, and that was like my first international trip. So in terms of shooting the project, there was a lot of pre-planning, a lot of pre-production things that went on, formulating interview questions, getting together our shot list, our mood board, everything that we needed to do in order to make sure we had like a very robust and easy shoot time, because we were only going to spend 5 days shooting the Ghana part. And we were blessed to have two amazing producers in Ghana, Christine Boateng and Khaled Adisa. And yeah, they were very helpful in making sure that everything was in place. And I believe Claudia came about a month or two earlier. She was in Ghana. And that was where a lot of the location scouting happened. She was sending me pictures of how places looked and if it fit what we were going for. So I say, like, if you're going to shoot out of country if possible. If you could get producers who are actually there, if you could get there a little bit earlier just to make sure everything is set and ready beforehand, that was very helpful. So then by the time shooting came around, we were all ready and set to go, and it was very fruitful and amazing, an amazing experience.
I bet those producers helped out a lot. Even though Claudia, you did know the country and you know knew people there, of course, but having those producers helped out a lot. So when you were actually filming the girls doing Ampe, did you have to do any instruction, or was this game so natural to them? You were just observing, the camera was just an observer. How much did you have to interject into, framing the story?
Yeah, I think Ampe is almost like a natural backdrop to the city of Accra. I feel like as you weave in between neighborhoods, you may always like hear in someone's backyard, like children playing Ampe. And I mean, it is a bit like less frequent now, but it's like when you do hear it, you immediately know what it is. So I think with the girls that we were interviewing, it's like muscle memory for them. So we didn't really have to like interject. I think if anything, when playing Ampe, it's so difficult not to collapse the lines, right? Because there's so much joy and energy and just like emotion. So the lines end up just falling apart. So the only thing that we had to just keep reminding the girls is, hey, like, let's make sure that we don't block the camera. Like, I know we're excited, but let's just like keep the line so we can, so the audience and the framing of the camera could still capture what was happening. But yeah, I think that was the only time that we had to interject the Ampe playing moments in the film.
Oh, great.
I think to add to that, as filmmakers, we're very interested in like observational and kind of a fly on the wall style. So we tried not to interfere too much and just allow the girls to just naturally see how they play. And a lot of the girls, it had been a couple years or a long time since they played. So that joy was very real in those moments.
That's a really good style. So, Ife, speaking of that, the fly on the wall, you had a concept. You and Claudia had a concept going into this film. Um, how much did it change from your original vision to the final edit?
I think it changed quite a bit, at least from our 2020 version to the 2021 version. But I think once we started planning for shooting in Ghana as well as in Columbus, Ohio, what we had planned from the beginning, we're like, okay, we're going to focus on 2 girls in Ghana, 2 girls in Columbus, Ohio, and see, well, they're Ghanaians, but they're in Columbus, Ohio, and see what that looks like. And following them and seeing them interact with the women and girls around them and around their community, that was what we had planned. And it didn't change much from what we initially wrote down. I think Claudia and I were very strong when it comes to a story and seeing the heart of a story. And so like once we have something set in our mind, we're going to make it happen regardless of what people say. And that was kind of what it came to be.
Well, great, as it should, as it should. Claudia, please describe your working relationship with Ife. To do a project like this is not just a film partner. You two, I take it, are friends as well too. So describe your working relationship with Ife.
Yeah, I think just with the time that we've had together from our first film, which no one will ever see again, if we can help it, because it's cringy and we don't like that film anymore. But just kind of thinking about just the affordance of having someone next to you. I think that's such a transformative experience, especially to be so young and to not have to like go into it alone. And I think a lot of the time film can feel inaccessible. And I'm really always appreciative from, I guess, like how, even though we're like-minded, I think we approach it from different spaces. And so I think I'm always just fascinated by our different modes of seeing and how they complement each other. And I think I always really admire too, just like our ability to just bounce ideas off of each other. And like Ife says, we both really have this knack for a story, or like for telling a story. And so, yeah, I think that has really, of course, like our collaboration started off with friendship, and it's still very much about friendship above all else. Like, we don't want the film or any future productions to kind of like eat away at our friendship. And so I think just being able to reflect each other and make room for each other has been such an integral part of our collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good information, especially for those who are watching, interested in filmmaking and working with their friends and or another talented filmmaker as well too. It's good information. Before as we are winding down here, is it possible for the two of you to maybe just do a brief demonstration of Ampe? I know without the dancing, but maybe with the clapping and maybe some of the vocals as well too.
Yeah, sure. I think just in our own wording, we kind of describe Ampe, if you're unfamiliar, as like rock, paper, scissors, but with your feet. So it's a game of chance, and it's rhythmic. It involves hands and feet and jumping. Think hand games, but you're also moving your feet as well. The rhythm in our demonstrations that we believe works is like clap, clap, jump, clap, kick. And so with that, and just kind of doing it over and over, helps to set the tone and the pacing of the game. And Ife can speak more about the chants, or the chants that we say.
Yeah, so a lot of the chants are when the game is getting very high energy and maybe it's getting really, really competitive. For example, if the mother is the only one left on her team, her children who have already gotten out will be like, mother, mother, do something before you die. And while they're doing that, they're also clapping. So they're like, mother, mother, do something before you die. Mother, mother, do something before you die. And then there's also, what is it, Majiga Boda?
Yeah, Mejiga Bodam, which is like, it means I've gone mad, like I'm full of rage and I'm ready to face you.
And there's so many other ones, depending on what region you're playing in, what your native language is, because within Ghana, there's different dialects and languages here as well. So it all varies across, not only within Ghana, but across West Africa and across the US too.
Wonderful. So both of you are in West Africa now, in the same country, but different locations in Ghana. Are you two working on something together now, or just what can we expect from this, dynamic duo next?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're here to do programming. We want the people who are in the film to be able to see it. So we're actually having a few screenings with women-led organizations and spaces in Ghana during our time here.
Okay, great. And Ife, any future collaboration with Claudia?
I think right now our main goal is to extend the life of Ampe. We've spent 3 years putting all that we possibly could into the film, and this is the first year that it's actually out to the public in a limited way. So a lot of screenings, look forward for that, both community as well as in festivals. And we just want to plan events centered around Ampe. So if any schools, any individuals, anybody is interested in that, you can email us at ampestudyfilm@gmail.com for any collaborations. If you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, then Ampe Study Film Instagram, and also ampefilm.com.
Wonderful. Great information there. Well, co-directors Claudia Owusu and Ife Oluwamuyide, co-directors of Ampe Leap Into the Sky Black Girl. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you for
having us.
Yeah, I wish you all the best. And thank you to our audience for joining us for this important and invigorating conversation. For more information about upcoming film festivals, please visit us at clevelandfilm.org. I'm Eric Siler. Thank you.